and be like, well, I don't feel good.
Somebody else make me tea.
I told my kids, it's like, yeah, you're making yourselves dinner. I don't care what it is. Have whatever you want.
Right. All right. So I think we're live now in the unlisted fashion because we record these so that members who can't make it can go back and watch. So that's the one of the perks of being a book club member. Okay, where are we at? Oh, there. Having a genius moment today. So I'm trying to bring up the chat for book club. Okay. Did you guys see the thing I put in there? The
I
video
did
from
the demon thing.
yeah, I was like, that's so cool.
Well, that's more in line when people say, they're battling demons. That's kind of
Right?
what they mean. Not like an actual horned
Exactly.
demon from the pits of Hades.
Right. Okay, Courtney, I just added you to the Green Witches Book Club chat on Facebook. So that acts as like the hub for everything. We
Okay.
put books in there. We talk about topics in there. We do all kinds of stuff for the book club in there. And so if you have any questions about anything you read and it's not book club day yet, you can just throw that shit in there too. We can talk about it then, or even bring it up in
Okay.
book club, which is what we're gonna do tonight. Because you know,
So should I have a notification? Oh,
yeah. It'll
just
There
show
wanted
is
to.
some. Oh, it smells so good. It's lemon
Okay,
time.
so
Okay.
Lisa said this was a super long but fascinating chapter, so I thought I'd share some of my notes from this week's reading. She said he opens up with discussing the importance of making the exercises real. I think that would be important with any beliefs or practices.
Right.
Yeah, he does say that right in like the prelude before you go into the chapter 7. And he talks about like his embarrassments that he had in the process of not taking
Oh, I
himself
read that.
seriously. Yeah.
I actually
So it's
read
interesting.
that.
He
Oh
talks about
my.
how fairy is a unique form of witchcraft originating in the Northern Hemisphere, specifically the West Coast of the United States.
Is
Discussions of
this
the,
is
good?
this Lisa from our class?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's written so much.
She's been
I
good.
love her.
The
I
last
love
month
her.
when none of us have read, she's kind of been the teacher of the class.
I love
Her
it.
and Shannon.
Well, I've been really busy the last few weeks, so like I'm do the best I can.
I have no
Um,
excuse. I just suck. I forget.
she goes, discussion of the wheel of seasons and fairy began being a version of the wheel in Western magic, a year divided into 4 sections. Example, air equals spring, sunrise, color, golden, and yellow. She says, I love the idea of resonance. I do too. His likening to of a piano tuning instrument to people, ideas, or relationships. We can feel in tune with someone or something, example, poetry or art, journaling, exercises included. And then she says, singing, humming, writing music, or chant using this element, the air realm of the voice, which I thought was great because, as a singer, I'm like, woo, that's awesome. I related
Carrie's
to
on
that
her
as
way.
well. Okay, cool. She probably forgot. It's okay.
Good.
um, air is also related to sense, equals incense, and oils have been used for centuries in magic. Great discussion on this under the heading of magic of sense exercises, including incenses. I don't know what page that's on, but we can talk about that. Then she says, discussion on the first of the guardian beasts of the air equal eagle, described as the watchers, considered emissaries of the elemental realms and acts of spiritual guides. She says she loves the idea of the eagle helping us rise above, gaining a better vantage point, helping to see clearly. And she says she wants to try that exercise too. It's called invoking the eagle. FYI, you don't have to do all the exercises in the books that we're on if you don't feel comfortable. It's not advised to do something you're not comfortable doing. So you can use it as a learning thing. If you want to do the exercises, you absolutely can. It's really up to you. What you do is what you do. It's not for me to determine what that is. Because in the world of witchcraft and spirituality, that is a self-driven thing, and nobody should tell anybody what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Word.
So
I don't do any of it because I'm a Christian. I'm good Christian girl. You can tell by my mouth. But I find value and like
you're a folk
interest.
tradition. You're good.
Well, yeah, do Christian folk magic, but I do enjoy learning about other people's like beliefs and practices and things like that.
That's
I
good. There's nothing here.
find it fascinating.
So she says
sometimes weird, but that's cool.
Well, there's a lot of intermingling with the Christian belief system and this particular book, which I find very fascinating.
Yeah.
So sifts equal nature, spirits of the air element. They exist in the ether fairy realm. They infuse life force into the air we breathe. They are the fairies we might think of in childhood, what she says. She goes, tool of air, the wand equals intellect used in direct energy, which is pretty common as far as using wands go.
Yeah.
And she said the description of the Watchers' spiritual ancestors of the tradition, both witch and fairy. And I am behind and need to let the rest of them in here.
Sorry. Terry.
It's Terry.
Lisa. There they both are.
Sorry about that, man. I didn't realize it was 7.
Hey, girls. Hey.
Hey, sorry. I totally got sidetracked. I'm talking to my husband about Nashville stuff, and I'm like, holy crap. He even reminded me, he's like, well, you got book club at 8:00. And I'm like, yeah, it's 10:02. I got time. Sorry. Yeah.
No,
what did I miss?
We just started talking about it.
We were just reading the comments that you made in the Witches Book Club thing.
Yeah, I'm a nerd like that, Courtney.
No, I loved it. I'm an English lit major, and when I read it, I was like, yes, girl. And I haven't read the book, so it was very helpful.
All right. Yeah, I quit apologizing for it, and I just do it. I'm like, well, if people want to look at it, that's fine. If not, whatever.
Oh, I love it.
No, please don't stop.
Yeah,
okay.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
It really is.
One of the parts I find fascinating in the fairy tradition is this intermingling with Lucifer, which I found fascinating. He's representative of what's called the blue god, or like kind of like the accompaniment of duality of both sides, essentially, and symbolizes the biblical reference for free will, which is absolutely fascinating to me, because in Christianity, he does, hi Kaya, he does decide not to obey God when God says, hey, I need you to bow before Adam. And he was like, no, that's not cool. And so essentially he's cast out of heaven for not listening. So, but if you look at the symbolic nature of the whole thing, he created free will, not God, but Lucifer. You know what I mean? He like encompassed the whole idea of free will. which I
So
thought was
as like the serpent, I guess, if you're gonna go by, I am not that kind of Christian. But so if he encompassed it, does that mean like in their story of Adam and Eve and then the serpent, him
this.
talking them into free will? Like, is that kind of,
Well,
or I don't
no,
know.
he was cast out of heaven when God made Adam and Lilith. Because remember, Eve was made after from his rib.
So these are in other Jewish texts, right? About Lilith,
Right.
right?
So God said that all of the angels need to bow before Adam because it was God's creation. And Lucifer was like, yeah, that's not cool, essentially, and decided that he wasn't going to do that because God originally said not to bow to anybody but him, remember?
Right.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna
So
what?
Lucifer was like, that's not what you said before. So no, I'm not gonna do that. He's just a human. I'm an angel, and then he get all pretty much pissed off about it and then was cast out of heaven for that. But yeah, this would be before Eve, because Eve was a secondary woman that was made as someone who was to be subservient to Adam. And Lilith was absolutely not.
Yay, Lilith.
Oh yeah, no, she was considered to be the original witch because she would not bow down.
I am gonna
You
look
know.
for source material on that because while I've heard that story, I've never known where it comes from. Like in what books and what is it folkloric based? Is
I
it
think you may find a lot of it in the what's the fucking, oh, my brain.
The Torah?
Huh?
The Torah?
No, the one that runs along Christianity, but like not Christianity, this predates Christianity just a little bit. Or like, I don't know if it predates it completely, but it's like kind of parallel, but they have
the
different opinions.
Quran? The Quran?
No, the I can't remember the one that the show Lucifer is built on. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Cassie, you know what I'm talking about? Shit.
So
Fucking
it says she's mentioned in the Bible one time in Isaiah 34:14. I don't really
Okay.
hang in the Old Testament, so I don't. And then Jewish folklore.
Well, yeah, I'm the name is slipping
Oh,
my
so
brain.
here's some ancient Mesopotamian texts. Her name or a similar one appears in older Mesopotamian texts, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, where she is associated with a tree and evil spirits. Well, that's interesting. I have wanted to read the Epic of Gilgamesh because I feel like there's like parallels to Christianity, just like in other cultures and religions of old. They kind of run
Right.
parallel. The stories are very
I'm looking for that.
similar.
I'm looking for that actual tradition. Okay. Don't mind me.
So why do they call him the blue? What do they call him? The blue god? Why I
Yeah,
look
Blue
at
God.
does it explain why?
Lacey, do you want to talk about that?
Why is he
Not
blue?
really, I don't know. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I don't even remember what page it's on. I quit putting page numbers. Um, I, to be honest, it was a lot to kind of take in the the Blue God stuff.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really fascinating that, just all the different names and things that he's known by. And yeah,
Huh.
I'll try to find it real quick too. Um, so, okay, I just found it. So say that question again. I'll see if I can
I'm
remember.
just curious where the name, the blue
Gnosticism.
god,
What I'm trying to fucking remember.
the blue god came from. Is it a specific fairy name for him, or does it come from somewhere else, or a story, or a?
So the tradition I was thinking about is called Gnosticism.
Oh,
That's
I don't
kind
know.
of a. That's like a kind of school of thought, though, right? And different. You have Gnostics and a bunch of different religions.
Well, that's an actual tradition. It's a full tradition. But it's called Gnosticism. It's a spiritual movement that happened a few centuries that existed alongside early Christianity, where they think that God in the Bible is not the true God, but the imposer God or false, incomplete God. There's a whole thing, like it's a whole thing.
Yeah, well, I've read some of the Gnostic texts, which are far more interesting. I think the Gospel of Mary Magdalene was found, I think, by wasn't it, from the Gnostics?
Mm-hmm.
And Nag Hammadi, maybe. I'm pulling that out of my ass, so it's been a long time. Um,
Oh, so yeah, it just says that he is one of our central gods, so talking about fairy, but in some myths he is an angel, while in others his origin as it's
Yeah.
Djinn or fairy are subtly revealed. So it
okay.
talks about him being a shapeshifter, a trickster, a great teacher. Um,
So a jinn. So a
And
jinn
in
is
his
Middle Eastern. That was the origin of where the genie comes from, by the
Okay.
way.
And then
Okay.
in the second book, he is the in the second book that he writes, there's a whole chapter on him being the bridge between hell and heaven, essentially, or the watcher over. Because he's considered the light bringer, you know. So as being the light bringer, what that means is that when according to certain Gnostic texts, hell is an entrapment of your own personal condemning. Like, so you have the ability to pull yourself out of hell and go and transcend into heaven if you deal with the guilt that you have in your brain. Does
So
that make
that's
sense?
that's in Judaism too. You know,
Mhm.
Judaism, there's a bunch of different whatever, but back when I studied it, that was kind of how it was explained by this rabbi, was that eventually everyone can be with God, that it's you yourself that stops yourself from
That
being with
stops you
God.
from
Yeah, you
ascending,
gotta,
right?
and when you work, but ultimately everyone will be with God.
So
How long for you to deal with your
in the
shit?
second
Depends.
book, in his second book, the way Lucifer is used, he's used through what's called transmutation. So in because the second book is so heavy on shadow work and facing your inner demons, Lucifer is invoked to help you transmute your inner demons, and then you can also utilize helping other inner demons move along if they were so willing, anyways. But generally that's what Lucifer was used for in the second book. So I think in this one he's kind of introducing us to the concept of Lucifer and how Lucifer works inside of transmuting things, is what
So
I kind of get from it.
I'm just kind of looking back in chapter 1, is it? On page 10. So the blue god is also Diane E. Glass. I don't know if I'm saying that
Right.
right. But
The goddess, right.
so right. So yeah, that kind of connects that way. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I could read this 5 times and probably still just be, sort of
I'm
understanding it.
I'm kind of glad I'm not. I'd be on a hamster wheel. I would be looking in 8,000 different directions trying to figure out the backstory of every dang thing and
Right.
work
Right.
myself into a frenzy.
On another note, I've been going down kind of a rabbit hole on Christian witchcraft.
Uh-huh.
So if
Mhm.
you all have any good resources,
I
You're
do.
gonna be looking at
Um,
hoodoo in a lot of aspects, which is
Or pop.
really hard to get into, to be honest with you.
So, but there's European. So there's Pennsylvania Dutch powwow, which is what I practice. It's also
Mm.
called Braucherei. So it's powwow like the Native American. Why they call it powwow, they don't know. They've just always called it powwow. If you
Okay.
look into Scotland and what is it called? The Carmina de Gallagher, there's a lot of, just look up Christian folk magic. That's all you have to look up. You will get hoodoo, but there's all kinds of European
I've got a
folk
book on
magic.
Appalachian witchcraft, and then I've also got one called Discovering Christian Witchcraft: A Beginner's Guide by Emile
They also
D.
have
Prada.
Right. They also have I don't know how to say it, but they have the traditional Mexican folk magic too, which is
Yeah.
also
Oh,
Christian based.
Brujeria?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Curandismo. I don't know how to say it.
Okay.
Which book do you have on the Appalachian?
Which book do I have? Hang on, I have to turn around and look.
Because some,
Appalachian for Beginners by Lily.
I don't. So a
Um,
lot of them have, and not that there's anything wrong with it, but a lot of them have new age kind of modern
you all
things
see that? Shoot.
mixed.
Oh yeah,
and,
nice. You should put a picture of that in the book club group, please, because I think I want to
Okay.
pick up that.
And then the other one I have is a little more traditional, like actual. I'm trying to figure out how people blend. Damn it,
It's
got
okay.
like traditional Christianity with witchcraft. Like, how do you justify that?
So,
I'm just
but
trying to
because they
figure it
don't,
out.
I can explain it to you because that is what I do. Because to
Okay,
me, it's not witchcraft. I don't call it witchcraft. It's not witchcraft to me. I'm not a witch. It's, I'm not.
that's what I'm
And
trying
I
to
haven't,
figure out.
yeah, I'm
Like,
not.
how does that work?
Because it's prayers. You're basically praying and it's faith healing. It's faith
It's
healing, like in the Bible,
physical
mostly.
praying.
It's prayer and action. There is,
The other text that it led me to is the Nag Hammadi scriptures.
okay.
Am I
There
am
you
I
go.
saying
That's what
that
I was
right?
just talking about. Yeah, that's the Gnostic, I
Hmm.
think the Gnostic books of the
So it's
Bible
kind of
and
like
different things.
all the books that aren't in the Bible that didn't quite make it, like
Yeah,
they
they're
weren't good enough to
good.
be
It's not
there.
that they didn't make it, it's
So
that they were removed over time through history and then hidden in different places.
Well,
It's
they
all
didn't even
there.
find them. No, but they didn't even find them until like the 1930s or 40s, the ones in the cave. Like a
Right, but
kid.
most of everything that came in the Bible is an accumulation of all things.
Well, it's a
Like
bunch of it
throughout
was a
history, it's a historical text.
but they had to put it was like a gajillion different books that a bunch of the early church
Right.
they all sat around and they're like, okay, what books encompass what we believe and what,
True.
back up what we believe. So they put those books together. Man put all them
Right.
books together. I have to remind Christians of that a lot of the time. Not that they're not useful, but they picked books that aligned or supported, you know what I mean, their views of what the religion was. But so
Right. And that changed throughout history.
Christian folk magic is old. I mean, old in Ireland and Scotland and England. So when you would give someone a charm, a bag full of herbs, and write a prayer on it and all that stuff is just old. And that was not
Mhm.
witchcraft. They didn't call it witchcraft. That was part of Christianity. The way we
Witchcraft
look
didn't
at it
really come
now,
around until they wanted to pull people away from it.
well, our country, no, I don't think so. I think it was just an easy transition. They just switched from one to the other because
I think it
everyone,
was terminology just to create, because you had that time and period in time in history where people were, you know, scared of everything and they blamed things on witches and stuff like that. And so there was a lot of that defined
Not
the
to go down
negative
a
aspect.
whole, like, not to go down a whole conspiracy theory rabbit hole, but I really feel like, in a way, it was a way to control the masses by steering them toward one set religion and getting them away from some of these traditional things that
Mhm.
actually work. Now, I could be way off, but I just feel
I
that.
agree.
I think
Definitely agree.
they encompass them. So I heard a story from an Irish lady. She runs the Irish pagan school, and
Mhm.
she said Ireland was not forced to go Christian. They went Christian willingly because it was so easy to meld their traditions into Christianity. It wasn't a big change for them. It was, they just do it different, which is why, the Irish Catholic, why people say Irish Catholic and not Roman Catholic. It was different. It was more nature based. It was more holy sites where they live in their land and all those things. Like they didn't give that stuff up. They just honor a different God when they do it. It's kind of as simple as that. When
Right.
I,
They also absorbed some of the pagan gods and goddesses into
well,
saints. Right.
Bridget,
Into
especially
saints.
Saint Bridget, she
Right.
is, yeah, definitely huge. And but yeah,
Mhm.
so they've been using charms, what we would think of as a spell. So words. Like I have a book. Now let me friggin' pull it out from Scotland. And he went around Scotland. His name was Alexander Carmichael.
Mhm.
And went over the Highlands and Islands in shit. Hold on. Maybe the 1600s, 1500s, 1400s. So doing practices and think charms, and that's what they call it. Doing charms in the name of God is just, it's just old. It's through the modern lens that we call it witchcraft. They didn't call it witchcraft.
Well, I feel like, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone at all.
No, we're
This
not.
is
There's
just
no
kind of
offense here.
like, but I feel like modern Christianity has been like it's just watered down. It's like very, um,
It's
like there at one
Puritan.
time there were spells and there were legitimate, there was a lot of, I'm not articulating it well, but I feel like over time it's just been watered down and steered a certain direction,
In our
right?
country, but
In our
that's an
country.
American
In our
thing. Yeah.
country,
I
yes.
feel like because the damn Puritans, we come from Puritan people, and how shitty the Puritans were with getting rid of any traces of the Catholic Church or the Anglican Church. They went down to like, nothing, and the strict rules and all the bullshit that we still have in a lot of American churches today, you
Yeah.
know?
So let me ask you this, because the reason I'm going down this rabbit hole is just, again, I'm fairly new at this stuff and trying to figure out like what deities, if any, I can relate to, or what path or whatever.
Yeah.
But as far as like you're Christian and you do fairies, right? And
I just
so
believe in them. I don't do them. They scare me.
okay,
I just believe they're out
okay.
there. Yeah.
Well, whatever, but
Yeah.
so you do whatever with them.
Yeah.
But like I'm trying to figure out, I'm, so some of I was really burned by religion before. And so
Yeah.
like but I don't want to give it up. Like I want to hang on to that cord, but at the same time, I need to understand it better and why I'm letting go of that. If
Well,
I
see,
even
Yeah.
like
if I even want to.
from
Yeah.
my
You
understanding,
gotta,
it's like you can hold on to whatever works for you. Okay, like you don't have to change yourself completely. You can
no.
go, okay, well, I like this and I like that, and you can encompass everything. Like, there's no reason for anybody to look at you and tell you who you should be and what you should believe and how you practice. It is awesome to
Absolutely.
like get through and learn all these different cultures and traditions, because the reality is that there's a lot of stuff that intertwines and overlaps like
Yeah.
all over the place. And
I don't think it's
and there's
anybody
no,
telling me though. I think it's like this internal battle, like I can't let go of because if I don't believe in God, I'm gonna burn in fire. But
Lisa.
but then there's like other like I'm learning, like I feel like I'm getting the vibe that like, but then to give Satan power and give Christianity power, like so this book by Silver Ravenwolf. I read
right.
like 5 of her books. You read to her. And one thing that really stuck with me is she said that, and I'll just make it really quick. She said her daughter sat down for an interview. So the daughter of Silver Ravencraft sat down for this interview and they were talking to her about, they're like, well, isn't your mother a witch? Don't you believe in witchcraft? You believe in the devil. And she's like, no, I'm not dumb enough to believe in the devil because that would give him power. You know, so that's somebody's take. Now, I'm not saying that's
Mhm.
accurate or not,
Yeah.
but then I'm like, so to believe in Christianity, it's very confusing, and I'm trying to figure out what my vibe is and what I believe.
I
It's
think
hard, I
that
think, when you come from church hurt, as I know you guys do. I wasn't raised Christian. That's why it's so easy. Sorry.
Yeah.
okay.
What, Courtney?
Courtney. Go ahead, Courtney.
I was just gonna say because I have struggled with this, but I struggled with this in my 20s, and so I have had about 20 years to wrap my head around it. I grew up
Oh,
in a
help me.
very Catholic. I grew up with my mom was Catholic and my dad was very fundamentalist Christian, and it was like literally everything in the Bible is true, and if you don't believe in it, you're going to hell. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I just had to ask myself what I would believe in a vacuum, without having to think about what anyone else would say, what anyone else believes, and I didn't have to give reason to it or explain it to anybody. And so I just don't talk about it. And I believe a lot of different things from a lot of different, I cherry pick. And
Mm-hmm.
because I cherry pick, I don't claim to be anything, but I also don't
Mhm.
tell people what I don't feel like I owe that explanation and nobody
Mm-hmm.
needs it. I think you just have to be on the road long enough that you fully accept that nobody else is living your spirituality. And so you
Right.
don't need to explain it to anybody. And it's
Yeah.
okay to believe a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And because, like Heather said, it's
Mm-hmm.
all kind of
It's all
All kind of
intertwined.
related. Yeah.
that's
I
And
why
know
I go
it's more
as
an
I
internal.
yeah,
if
it
people
is.
ask
It's a
me, I
battle
tell
because
them
of,
that I'm a universal witch. In other words, I'm a universal practitioner. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
I do. I think you'll just get there. You'll get to a place where you feel safe in saying, I don't
Yeah.
really know, I can't say exactly what I am, but I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
everyone else will, can fuck off.
It's not for anybody else to judge anyways.
And
Yeah,
it, and
exactly.
it
Yeah.
You walk
takes
around with your
time.
fingers
It
up.
does.
Yeah.
I've had,
And it changes. It
it
doesn't
does.
have to be one
Right.
solid thing. It changes. It changes
Yeah.
as you grow. It changes as your situation is different.
Yeah.
Things change, you
Yeah.
know.
I'm
I
very
feel for
fortunate
you.
that my son is pretty open. We were all part of the same religion. We all left this religion. And so, and my husband's like, whatever, do you. So I'm very lucky that
That's
way.
awesome.
But
I love
yeah.
that. Yeah. You need people like that and other people that are like, we don't care what you are, Lisa. Be happy.
Right, exactly.
I
Exactly.
found my
But
tribe.
learning all of this stuff and like really picking it apart and going, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. I wonder where that started. Like kind of going back and forth to learn all these different traditions and practices is really fun. Like it's really
Yeah,
fascinating and interesting, and it
it
really goes
is.
into history and
Yeah.
like to understand, where the mindsets were in certain points in history, because it changes. Everything changes.
Yeah.
And religion and spiritual, and I wouldn't say so much spirituality, but religion, traditions, and cultures are all man-made.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
they're all
Right. And we're
man-made.
man, so we get to make it. You get to make it for
Right.
Yeah.
yourself. You get to make it, but you still got to deconstruct. You're still deconstructing. You don't have to choose a
Yeah.
path right now. You got
Yeah.
to almost unlearn everything, the harmful things that you
Right.
know,
I just
and,
feel like
and
a
realize
sponge, like
not
I'm
to beat
taking it all
not to
in
The
and
beat
just,
yourself up.
programming and brainwashing, yeah. You have to get
Right.
rid of
yeah.
programming and brainwashing. Yeah. I
Yeah.
come from Jehovah Witness and African Orthodox, so like
Yeah.
opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. And my mom, who's been in the African Orthodox Church for so long, has decided recently that she's gonna, she's finding herself more interested in being a Jehovah Witness. And I was like, that's cool.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand both sides of it, but it gave me a perspective when I walked away from all of it and created and just went in all different
Mhm.
directions. I started asking questions at like 15, 16 years old and decided that I didn't want to be any one thing. But I was very, very drawn to the magical sides of things, the interesting, unexplained things that the brain and the mind can do, and the psychology of stuff. So that's kind of where I started in the library.
I think I missed your story about how you were burned by religion. Lisa, when did you share that?
So, yeah, sorry, I was trying to look up this book too. So let me get back here too so I can see you guys. Yeah, so my husband and I had kind of I just interesting childhood. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. But,
Same.
yeah, and so it just wasn't super, super stable all the time. I met my husband, we were not in any religion at all. Religion was kind of poo-pooed in my family. So we ended up moving far away from home and different city, had little kids, our youngest son was like 1 and just kind of isolated, no internet, back then, 30 years ago, no
Mhm.
support system. And I fell in with Jehovah's Witnesses as well. Okay. So I studied, ended up becoming a Jehovah's Witness practiced full on for well over probably closer to 25 years.
Mhm.
Um, that's all my kids knew. And yeah, yeah. And then around COVID, you get off the hamster wheel and start thinking for yourself and realizing I took 2 weeks off of work. I was so shocked at what I learned because they tell you not to look on the internet, not to do any research on your own. Only use the internal research that they provide for you. And
Oh
if
my.
you do anything else,
Yeah, it's
you
very
get
cold.
disfellowshipped. It's very,
Oh my
very high
God.
control. People don't know
Red
that.
flag.
It's
That is
do as
bad.
I say,
I
not
had
do as I say all the time kind of
I
tradition.
have
Yeah.
a stepbrother who was raised Jehovah Witness, and but I didn't know that aspect. All I knew was, it was very
They, yeah,
regimented, no sports, no birthdays,
yeah.
no holidays.
Right.
Yeah,
No
they tell
blood
you what you
transfer.
want. They
Like, oh,
want you to know. And they are very, very secretive, very sneaky. They call it spiritual warfare, and
mhm.
they're very selective about what the actual public knows, but the rank and file members know exactly what is expected, and they don't put it in
Right.
writing.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah,
Goodness.
God.
absolutely. It's very cult like. That's why I was like, I'm not here to judge my mom who wants to go do whatever she wants to do. That's fine. She'll learn as she
Yeah,
grows. But
yeah,
yeah, it is. It's very cult like, and it does, especially with children. It really does
Goodness.
yeah.
brainwash you into a certain kind of life.
They most definitely. So it's not
So,
harmless. It's not, so so I'm trying to rebuild and learn.
That's okay.
I'm
So
proud of you. That takes bravery. It really does.
Yeah.
if you ever need a rabbit hole to a denomination that's the opposite of that, I'm a Quaker. Look up
Mm.
Quakers. Quakers.
I
We
don't know
don't
that I
have,
would ever be of any type of formal religion in my
it's not.
entire life. No
So
organized religion for me.
Quakers are not
That is
organized.
why I
That's,
am the way
listen,
I
but
am.
Quakers are not organized. We don't have clergy. There's no
Okay.
such thing as clergy at all.
If you
None.
have information on it, I would love to learn about it.
Yeah, it's all
Okay,
people.
and
It would be
yeah,
like
I
us.
would be
So
fascinated.
here's a Quaker meeting, guys. So we would sit here in silence. We close our eyes and you don't say anything until you feel led by the Spirit to say something. And everybody has this equal ground. Everything is done by committee, has to be done unanimously. There's no one in charge, no one. There's no intermediaries, no people, not even the Bible between you and God. It is
Really?
between you and God and
So
the
do they
Spirit.
do you go to churches or services,
We have
or how does that?
a meeting where we sit in silence in a circle. There's no nothing. We sit silence. Sometimes people speak up in the meeting. Sometimes we sit for an hour or two with no one saying a damn word, and we just all sit in the Spirit. That's
Are they
it.
online or in person?
They're both. You could do one online, where everyone sits. It's just like this on Zoom, and everyone sits quietly until they feel like speaking. You get a lot of hippies in there. There's a lot of older, hippies from the 60s, lots of hippie Quakers. You have some Quakers that don't believe in God, that they just
Really?
believe in the Spirit and their inner light. So it's very
It sounds
interesting.
fascinating. I guess
It
when you
is.
say Quakers, all I think of is like actual like Thanksgiving Quakers dressed up, and
No,
I know
those are
nothing
that's
about
the
it.
Puritans and the Pilgrims.
Whatever,
That's not the
that's what I
Quakers.
think of. I don't know.
So Quakers were the first, they were abolitionists. They were kind of liberal in their time. They were really involved in the Underground Railroad because they believed everyone has the light of Christ in them. So you can't, and no one has more power than the other. But there is
Okay.
nothing. And I found that fascinating. And that is why I started attending
Huh.
around COVID, maybe the year before, but no one can tell you anything about God or your relationship with God or your relationship with Spirit because it's just between you and God. No, nobody
Okay.
in between. So it just kind of helps. Remember that. What other people say
Yeah.
doesn't mean shit. It
Okay.
just doesn't.
Okay.
If you believe in
Yeah.
God or your higher power, or even if you're a humanist and it's your conscious and your inner light, that's what you listen to. That's what matters, not what, Tammy down the road says or Karen over there or some, asshole. That doesn't. So that's why I'm a Quaker. And I tell people I'm a Christian. I'm not that kind of Christian.
It sounds really interesting. I would
I'm a
love to
Quaker.
learn more about it. If you have, are there books or anything like that, or anything you
Yeah,
could
I
share?
can I can teach you send you in the direction of the start of it. Started in
Yeah.
England by a guy who was like, this church is bullshit. These people are doing stuff for money. This is whatever. He went up and sat on a hill and kind of heard Christ say, there's only one who can speak to your condition, and you can get that directly. You don't need anyone else or anything else,
Okay.
just you and whatever you
Yeah.
believe in. And so modern Quakers today, like I said, there's a lot who don't believe in God. There are some that are Buddhist Quakers. I think they call themselves Quudists, or Quakers. I don't know, but there's different. There's pagan Quakers. There's like all kinds of Quakers. I happen to be a Christian Quaker, but
Okay.
the worship is in silence only. And so you would have as much authority if you were sitting in a meeting, you
Well,
have just as much authority as someone who's been a Quaker their whole lives.
okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
but
Yeah.
before we kind of move on, guys. Sorry, I'm in the dark. I'm in my car. I wanted to cover what we're gonna cover for next week. And then I'm gonna stop the live because we're at an hour. So next week we're gonna do chapter